Hello student, today we are going to discuss about the learning and memory. So learning and memory, they are closely interrelated. So learning, an animal or human can change its behavior in the light of previous experience. This is the definition of the learning. An animal or human can change its behavior in the light of previous experience. Memory is a storage of related information which can be retrieved later at will. Learning. So learning can be non-associative learning or associative learning. So which are the non-associative learning? So habituation and sensitization, they are the non-associative learning. Associative learning are the based on the relation of the one stimulus with the another stimulus. So example of associative learning are conditioned reflex and unconditioned reflex. So what is conditioned reflex? So in this figure you can see food is given to the dog. So in response to this stimulus, that is food, in dog salivation occur. So in first condition, before conditioning, food is an unconditioned stimulus, so response is salivation. Then second is, if we press the bell or we ring the bell, that is neutral stimulus, then no salivation. Then during conditioning, if we present the dog bell pressing plus food given, so response is salivation. After that, if we remove the food, only we press the bell, the response is salivation occur in the dog. So this is the example of conditioned reflex, how the dog training works. So this is a conditioned reflex. So extensions that depends on the formation of the new functional connection in the central nervous system. So it is easy to establish a conditioned reflex response if the reflex effect is either pleasant or unpleasant. So conditioned visceral changes are produced. What is operant conditioning? So conditional reflex occur that involves the performing the task. So what is operant condition? This is a Skinner box is there. So Skinner's operant conditioning chamber, that is also known as Skinner box, that was designed to teach rats how to push a lever. So the behavior is not natural to the rats. So operant conditioning with positive and negative reinforcement were performed in order to teach the behavior. So positive reinforcements, the rat was awarded with the food when he pressed the lever. Negative reinforcement is a rat was able to turn off the shock produced by the floor by pressing the lever. So this is the operant condition, Skinner box. Now we will see classification of the memories. So they are classified based on the time duration. First is the short term memory, they last for second to minute. Second is the intermediate long term memory, that lasts for days. Third is the long term memory, that lasts for years or lifetime. Then memory based on the type of information, they are the declarative memory or non-declarative memory. So declarative memory are the explicit memory and non-declarative memory are implicit memory. So explicit memory, details of integrated thought, they are in the short which can be expressed in the words alone. That is a theoretical. And this declarative memory stored via the hippocampus. Non-declarative memory, implicit memory. So details required for the motor activities. In short, which can't be expressed in the words alone. They are the practical. They are not stored via the hippocampus. Now we see what is habituation, what is sensitization. So habituation means negative memory. From the all senses, lots of informations are there. If all this stored memory capacity would be full in the minutes, so what happened? Brain develop learning of the ignoring insignificant information. So that done by inhibition of synaptic transmission on the repeated continuous stimulation. So what is positive memory? That is sensitization. So information that produce pain, that is enhanced and stored as a memory traces. So that done by facilitation of synaptic transmission. So basal limbic region decides the information to be important and not subconsciously. So greater share of the negative and not positive memories. So this is about the sensitization. So negative memory is habituation and positive memory is sensitization. Working memory. So type of short-term memory that provides the information for very short period of time while plans or deduction based on it are done, like unfamiliar telephone number. So these are working memory. Then what is declarative memory and reflexive or implicit memory? So explicit memory or declarative memory are memory of fact, that is semantic memory, memory of events and personal experience, episodic memory. Implicit memory or reflexive memory are how to perform something, non-associative learning and associative learning. So this is the implicit memory or reflexive memory. Semantic memory is stored in the different area of association cortex, while episodic memory is stored in the association area of prefrontal cortex. Now we see about what is molecular mechanism of the memory. So physical basis of memory is the change in the strength of the synaptic transmission in the involved neural pathways. So short-term memory possible mechanism are reverberating neural circuit, presynaptic facilitation or inhibition, post-tetanic potentiation, then secreted neurotransmitter that leads to transient facilitatory or inhibitory change in the synaptic transmission, and this help in the establishment of the short-term memory. So in short-term memory, reverberating circuits are there, presynaptic facilitation or inhibition, post-tetanic potentiation, and secreted neurotransmitter leads to transient facilitatory or inhibitory change in the synaptic transmission, help in establishment of short-term memory. Intermediate memory that lasts up to 3 weeks, that is presynaptic facilitation, that better studied in the epilepsy, that is type of Snell. So this is the mechanism of intermediate memory. So receptor is serotonin, neurotransmitter is serotonin. It's a facilitated terminal, noxious stimuli, sensory terminal. Calcium channels are there and calcium ion is released by second messenger cyclic AMP. Long-term memory. synaptic strengthening through structural changes which are mediated by protein synthesis. So this led to increase in the number of the active zone, increase in the number of the vesicle containing neurotransmitter, increase in the number of the presynaptic terminal, change in the structure of the dendritic spine. NMDA receptors are involved for long-term potentiation, learning and memory. So they are present abundant in the hippocampus. So this is the mechanism. NMDA receptor. So glutamate is a neurotransmitter that binds to the AMP and NMDA receptor. Then calcium goes to the NMDA receptor into the cytoplasm and activate the calmodulin mediated calcium kinase 2. Then third is the calmodulin induce calcium kinase to induce the increased sodium diffusion through the AMP receptors, and fourth is a nitric oxide increase the release of glutamate from the presynaptic axon. Long-term memory is stored in the different region of the neocortex. Various components of the memory, audio, visual, are stored in the corresponding cortical area, and these are connected by synaptic pathways which facilitate transmission. Thus, there are multiple clues to stimulate the memory, and any of them can recall the whole event. Implicit or reflexive memory, that is encoded in the basal ganglia or in the part of the cerebellum. Consolidation of short-term explicit memory into new-term long-term memory is effected in the hippocampus. Bilateral ablation of hippocampus that result in the failure to form the new long-term memory, although working memory, remote memory and implicit memory are intact. Now pathway for the consolidation of memory. So connection are there between the hippocampus and mammillary body through the fornix that we learn about in the limbic system. So in alcoholic, lesion in the mammillary body are associated with the memory loss. Mammillothalamic tract, lesion of the thalamus have been associated with the loss of the recent memory in the monkeys. Now pathway that project from the thalamus to the prefrontal cortex and from there to nucleus basalis of Maillard in the basal ganglia, basal forebrain. From it, cholinergic fibers spread diffusely to the all part of the neocortex, amygdala and hippocampus. So lesion in this area that causes Alzheimer's disease and memory loss. So intimate relation that occur between the amygdala and hippocampus that signifies the close association between the emotional stimuli and memory. What is amnesia? Amnesia means loss of memory. Okay? जब याददाश्त खो जाती है तो उसे बोलते हैं एमनेशिया, लॉस ऑफ मेमोरी. सो व्हाट इज एंटोग्रेड एमनेशिया? मीन्स इनएबिलिटी टू एस्टैब्लिश द न्यू लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरीज ऑफ दोज टाइप ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन that form the basis of the intelligence. So when lesion involve the hippocampus, okay, when hippocampus involve, okay, then anterograde amnesia occur. So in that inability to establish the new long term memories. of those type of information that form the basis of intelligence. Now, what is retrograde amnesia? So that is a inability to recall the past memories. So in that lesion that involve the temporal lobe. So it is also called temporal lobe syndrome. What is Alzheimer's disease? Significant loss of the cholinergic neuron which arise from the nucleus basalis of Mayat and spread to the hippocampus, amygdala and various part of the neocortex. Significant loss of the cholinergic neuron which arise from the nucleus basalis of Mayat and spread to the hippocampus, amygdala and various part of neocortex. So in that marked loss of memory and cognitive impairment occur. So pathologically this disease is characterized by presence of the amyloid plaques and abnormality of neurofibrils.